Hello there guys, MrYorkiesWorld here, and this is probably going to be one of the most sought after videos that I've done. A lot of people have requested not necessarily this departure airport, but the destination that we're going to. You can see here that we are way off track in terms of where the aeroplane is located, but today we are flying British Airways BA903 from EDDF, Frankfurt, all the way over to London Heathrow. I actually purchased the UK 2000 scenery for Heathrow. We're going to switch on the fuel pumps and get everything sorted. IRS to nav. Now this is a 737-800, but this is not actually the aircraft that is used for this flight. Originally it's a 767-300, but we don't have that available, so I thought why not just use a 737. So anyways, arm the emergency lights. We can switch on the seatbelts and everything now as well. Just ready for when the passengers get on. But yeah, this is basically it. This is probably going to be the worst that my PC has ever been put through. It is Heathrow. So it's going to be pretty hard on frames. No idea what to expect, but anyways, there we go. So today the fuel that we've taken is 12,984 pounds of fuel. We're at EDDF. And we're actually at gate E2, Echo 2. It is a heavy gate for some reason, but this is what it says on Flight Radar 24. So that's what we're going to be using. So anyway, route. We've got a route set up, EDDF to EGLL. Runway 18 is going to be the departure. According to the winds, it shouldn't be, but over at Flight Radar 24, it does say that that is the active runway that is currently being used, so we're going to use that. Zero fuel weight 121.8, 1.5 is going to be the reserves. I don't actually know what the cost index is for BA, so I'm going to use 30. And our cruise altitude is going to be 360 today. Stick all that in, and we can go ahead and set 6,000 as the trans altitude. Again, no idea what D rate they use. I'm going to use a 24K with flaps 5. Central gravity is 23.6% with a 5.11 trim. Wind is 020 at 7 knots, so we can put that in. Stick it in there. And that calculates our V-speeds. So, let's just back out of that. And again. So V1 and VR 134, and the V2 is 143. So we can put 143 in there. VORs, traffic, and data, and we'll sort all the stuff out on the other side as well. So it's all identical. Auto brake RTO, and we might as well go on ahead and open some doors. Now you're going to notice something about GSX as well. I've actually started work on a GSX voice pack of my own, so I do apologise if it sounds a bit cheesy when you hear it, but it's the new one that I've decided to make. I was absolutely sick to death of the old one, of the generic sounds from GSX, so I decided to take the plunge and do my own. So 179 is runway heading today. We can arm the auto throttle. LNAV's not actually going to arm at the moment until we get in the air. But I thought, what the heck, let's just try it anyway, see if it does. Engine page. Get that ready for pushback. And we can go ahead now and switch on the yaw damper and the window heat switches. Right. What else can we possibly do? So for now, I don't think there's a great deal that we can. The flight itself is going to take about an hour and 43 minutes. I'm really excited for this. It's the first time I've actually been to London Heathrow in the sim, believe it or not. We're going to set the frequencies. So 110.30 is the frequency. We're going to be landing over at, I think it's runway 27 left. Well, in fact, no, it's 27 right over at Heathrow. Just going to give the TCAS a quick test. Nice wing view. That's passed. And see if we can see where this guy actually comes out and where he goes. Look at that. So he comes out. This should be fun. It's very generic. Look at him. Looks so happy to be in the job that he's in. And that's it. That's how you deliver an amazing customer service to the rest of the cabin. And do some catering. You just basically go in and disappear as soon as you walk through the door. Shift over. and he can go home now to his family and say he's done a fantastic job. Anyway, EGLL, we're going to do 50 miles, 100 and 150, just so it draws some rings around Heathrow. I've done a few test flights to it. My computer does not like Heathrow. The frames go absolutely crazy. I'm talking about 17 frames a second, something like that. Close some doors. Catering's complete. We can go ahead and request boarding. And that's essentially it now. What the hell's happened with the gate? With the jetway? I have no idea what that was anyway. Moving on. What I think I'm going to do, I've got a left wing view, finally. After all this time that I've not had one. I'm going to reset it just to a bit of a different view, actually. Just a bit lower down. With the possibility of having to zoom out a little bit as well. I'm trying to get like the same sort of view on the left side as I've got on the right. They are custom. I don't use the views that come with the EasyDock application. I like to customize them a little bit. But so yeah, we are here at E2. Again, the flight, I don't know whether I've told you, but the flight time is going to be approximately an hour and 43 minutes. I'm hoping that it sticks to that. It doesn't take us any longer. We might have to go around or something yet. Hopefully not, though. Wind's looking fine for runway 27 right over there at Heathrow, so that should be okay. We'll actually pick the arrival and everything a little bit further on into the flight. But for now, do apologise about the lack of frames. Frankfurt Airport and Heathrow are both quite heavy. Well, Heathrow is very heavy, but Frankfurt is quite heavy on the frames. So passengers are boarding now. And if we go onto the route, I will just briefly show you what we're going to be doing. So this is basically the weird departure. For some reason I couldn't select the correct departure that we're supposed to use from this runway, but I've basically put in the waypoints that departure takes us to. So it's that is the departure, but it's just not programmed in as a SID for some reason. So that was a bit weird. But it's going to take us all the way down to Nick there, and that's where we're going to be choosing the arrival. And I know for a fact I can tell you straight away that we're going to be using the LAM 3 Alpha arrival. But we will program that a little bit later in. I'm going to put the flight number, which is 903, into this little gizmo here on the yoke. I very rarely do that, but I just thought, why not? Let's go for it. And essentially that's it. We've just got to wait now for the boarding and for the baggage and everything to be put onto the aircraft. I've no idea where the baggage carts are. But there we go, I'll catch up with you once it's all done. And as if by magic, there we go, all the passengers and everything have been boarded, the baggage has been boarded, we can close the doors along with the cargo now. And we can go ahead and get the pushback and departure sorted out. This is where you're going to hear the custom sounds for GSX, by the way, so I will be publishing them eventually as a pack, but once I've improved it a little bit, so let me know if you like it. Should hear them anytime soon. Hydraulics can come on. But yeah, I will be publishing these, so let me know what you think about them. Best detach the gate while we're here, or the jetway. Marshall is on his way. Sorry about the sound loss there, was just checking the charts. Ground to flight deck, we are ready to commence pushback. And there we go, that was a very less generic sound set there by me, just saying that we are ready for pushback. There's a few things missing from it, and obviously I will be improving it, but that's basically the background behind it. Let me know what you think about it. You'll hear a little bit more, obviously, as we get into the pushback phase and stuff like that, but it's just the pushback I've replaced yet. I've not done any of the de-icing or anything like that sounds. I've just done or any of the voices, sorry. Just the pushback for now, but listen to this. Departure check is completed, bypass pin inserted, and you can release the parking brake now. Commencing push. All engines are clear to start at your discretion. And there we go. So that's it, basically. It's A little bit less generic, it comes in the MrYorkiesWorld fashion, if you like that. And we can go ahead and look at engine number 2 starting up. Yeah, I just got tired of it, to be honest. I just got tired of the generic sounds and the generic voices and stuff like that. I will eventually be making a full pack that I will release to people and stuff. But it needs a little bit more work yet. It's not perfect. There's a few things missing. So I'm not 100% happy with it just yet. If you are a Patreon of mine, by the way, you do get access to stuff like this early, so if you would like to become a patron, whether it be for free or whether you'd like to donate something, it's entirely up to yourselves. You can get access to things before they are released to everybody else, including videos and other content, so I will link you to my Patreon page, as always, in the description of the video. I still need to sort this wing view out, but there we go. Let me sort it out, see if I can actually... That's better than it was. Not perfect, but it's better. In order to actually get to the runway 18, we've got to travel quite a long time and long distance across the airport. It's basically from one end to the other. So I would have liked to be taking off from a different runway, but there we go. I'll probably just make it into like a cinematic thing of the taxi, just so you can see some of the Frankfurt scenery, but apart from that, I'm certainly not going to sit there and taxi for about 10 minutes straight without cutting it for the video. So anyway, I think that's both engines started up near enough, by the looks of it. Set the parking brakes, please. Set the parking brakes there. Right. Okay, so first things first, we can switch on the probe heats. We can go ahead and just check that the ISO valve is set to auto, which it is, while we transfer the power over. Left and right packs. The APU bleed can come off, as well as the APU itself, because we don't need that now. Engines to continuous. Everything else is set up, really. We just set the flaps to 5. That's what we need to do, before I forget. It's a little bit bright today, I do apologise about that. Nevertheless, look at that. Love the animation effects on the NGX. Ground does look a little bit shiny, I don't know whether it actually looks like that in real life, probably not. Unlocking the gear now. We can go to the takeoff ref page, we need a trim of 5.11. Okay, cockpit we are disconnected, the bypass pin has been removed. Set that to about 5, I'm not too bothered about the exact number. Flight control check, so forward, full back. We can go full left with a wing view. And we can go full right with a wing view. And all that's left now is to check out the rudder, so rudder left and rudder right. Looking good. Flight control check has been done. Clear. Lights on. Everything else is set up, I think, so we are near enough ready to go. And GSX doesn't want me to go straight away, but nevertheless, we are doing. Everything's clear, we are ready. Whoa! What the hell's he doing? Alright, maybe we're not ready. And there's another, it looks like there's 2 more there as well, Jesus. Gotta love the vehicles in P3D. But nevertheless, while we begin our taxi, I might as well tell you a little bit of information about this flight. Again, this is flight number British Airways BA903. It is meant to be a 767-300. We don't have that, so we're using the 737-800. We're going to be flying at flight level 360. It's going to take us approximately 368 miles to get over to Heathrow, which should in turn take about an hour and 43 minutes. We're going to be departing from runway 18 according to Flight Radar 24, even though we do have a bit of a tailwind behind us, which is unusual. I'm happy with the wind though. I mean, usually, from what I know of, a pilot would choose based on the wind. the runway to take, but as long as the wind is not over 15 knots, we should be okay. It's fine, it's no problem at all. And that's it. Basically, there's not much else to say, so I will show you a little bit of cinematic now, or a bit of a cinematic experience, should I say, of the Frankfurt scenery just before we depart. Okay, so we are approaching runway 18. It's been about 50 years worth of taxiing. Transponder that can go on to TA and R8. And I'm going to wait just before we go ahead and enter the runway. We can switch the strobe lights on, landing lights on, and taxi lights can come off. 9:25 AM. See if we can make a mess of this lineup. Almost. Still need to do a little bit of straightening out, but not too bad. Start the clock. Engines to 40%. Looking stable. I do apologise about the lag, and toga. And away we go. Get used to the choppy playback of this video. The frames are terrible, and they are going to get even worse over at Heathrow. V1. Rotate. I always thought that this was the end of the runway, but it's not. It's just like the touchdown zone's a little bit further. Well, a lot further than most airports. Whoa, some trees just disappeared there to the left. I've no idea why that happened. But look at that. That's actually quite decent. We could use that as a thumbnail. I had no idea. I never use any of the views that I say in the sim as an actual thumbnail, even though I do say it, but there we go. Lock the gear, we can arm LNAV, and the autopilot can come on. And that's it, we can begin the turn to the right. Coming out of Frankfurt, EDDF. Frames aren't too bad, I suppose. I haven't got an FPS counter, but there we go. Engines back to normal, runway turn-offs can come off. But we're away, there we are. Nice sun in the background, we've got some clouds, got some cloud shadows there, beautiful. From the PTA tool. Nice wing view. But that's it, we are making a nice climb. Just coming up on 4,000 feet now. Flaps can come all the way up. I left that a little bit late actually, I should probably have started retracting the flaps a little bit sooner. But got so carried away with looking at everything on the sim that I forgot to do so. Again, scenery, nothing special. It's just the Orbex FTX Global scenery. The EDDF airport is obviously payware. Coming up on 6,000 now. We can set the standard pressurization. Set the current heading to 214. It's going to change in a moment, but who cares? Look at that view. That's just lovely, that view. Again, we're actually going to be following what would be the SID for runway 18. For some reason I couldn't program it into the FMC, I couldn't find it there. The nav data is up to date. I've got the latest Navigraph, but for some reason I couldn't select the SID. So what we've actually done is we've used every one of the waypoints that the SID would take us to, and we've just put it in manually, as you can see there. So anyways, we can go ahead now, go onto the legs page on both FMCs. I've had a lot of people asking me, have I got anything special in my P3D config file? Everything is standard, I don't have any tweaks whatsoever. A copy of that is available. If you look for the video on my channel, you can see the settings and everything that I use, as well as my config file, if you really are enthusiastic about downloading it. But again, I take no responsibility if that messes up your sim. Landing lights off now. Just over 10,000 feet. And that is it. There's nothing really spectacular about the rest of this flight. It's going to be pretty short. It's not going to be the longest flight we've ever been on. So, what I think I will do, I will leave you with some cinematics on the way over to Heathrow. Look at that view. I'm going to leave you with some more of these views over on the way to Heathrow, and I'll catch up with you guys a little bit later on into the flight. Okay, so not exactly there just yet, but we're going to select the arrival. So we're going to be arriving at ILS runway 27 right, and we're going to be using the LAM 3 Alpha star. So we can select that, go onto the legs page and just clear up any discrepancies, such as this one here. And there'll be another one just there. Clean that up, execute that. And now, if we go ahead and open up the FMC onto the legs page, switch this to plan mode, and we can see that this is going to be the approach. So it's basically going to take us directly onto the ILS for runway 27 right. Decent approach, no messing about, and it's actually worked. So I don't know why the SID didn't work, but the star certainly did. So, anyway, that is it. We are at cruise level now, 360. We've got no step climbs or anything. You can see the flight path is pretty straight from now on. We're still over Germany at the moment. But look at the amazing wing view. I mean, you can't go wrong with the add-ons I've got, by the way. They're all available in the description of my videos. I'll be putting those in the description of the videos. But look at that. FTX Global with some Rex clouds and stuff like that. Absolutely fantastic. So anyways, I will catch up with you guys once we're a little bit closer to the airport. See you in a bit. Okay, so this is a little bit further into the video that I would have actually liked to start recording, but we are coming out of 7,000 feet at the moment. In fact, no, we're going to add some drag using the speed brake. The frames are going to go and rest in peace now. I do apologise, but the rest of this video is going to be absolutely terrible in terms of frames. Hopefully the visuals won't be too bad, but the frame rate's going to absolutely go into the toilet. This UK 2000 Heathrow is seriously a performance hog. If you're interested in the specs and everything else that I'm using in the sim, again, I will put all of that in the description below. But it's a pretty tanky system, I would like to think, and we are still struggling quite a bit. It's probably got something to do with the fact that I do use relatively high settings on my sliders. I do sacrifice a lot of performance. But I like things to look nice, so there we go. You can see the localizer diamond just on the left of the PFD there. We're not quite in range of it just yet, but we will be by the time we go ahead and get to the next waypoint. Here we are, coming through the clouds. Quite a lot of pop in from the scenery. It's not doing too bad. We've got the speed brakes out and everything to slow us down because we're going unusually fast. You can see the London scenery just ahead. I'm not fantastic with geography, so don't ask me to point out anything in specific, but there we go. Or in particular. Still looking lovely. I'm not too disappointed actually with the performance. It's not too bad. Descent's looking good. We're actually using vertical speed at the moment, just to help us descend a little bit faster than what the autopilot was actually descending us at. Speed brake is fully extended now because we really do need to slow down. Speed set to about 200, I'll increase that shortly. VOR lock is on. Both diamonds are visible now. We're going to intercept the glide slope at about 2,500. Obviously once we get over there. Spooling up a little bit. But look at the scenery there. I don't actually think that this PC is doing too bad. It is worse at night time. I tried doing a nighttime flight to Heathrow, this very same flight, and it was near enough impossible because the frames literally went down almost single figures. So I certainly won't be doing that until I've managed to find a way of tweaking a nighttime version of my P3D config. It is possible. You can select your sliders and stuff just if you're doing a night flight, and it really does help. You don't really need your terrain details and stuff to be that high if you're doing a night flight. You're not going to see the majority of it anyway, so I might turn all of that down. And obviously the UK 2000 scenery does come with its own options, and there's a high, a low and a normal for the scenery. Mine's set to normal and it's doing pretty well. I haven't got an FPS counter, otherwise I'd show you how many FPS, but speed's coming back nicely now. Look at the scenery down there of the city. I am very, very impressed with this. All the buildings down there. Got the shadows from the clouds, got some water. That is definitely thumbnail worthy. Right, okay, so we are very quickly approaching the ILS feathers now. Gonna down with the speed. Approach hold is switched on. I don't want to turn the speed too far back. Gonna extend some more flaps. And the speed brake can come out fully because we are going over speed. arm it again just to make sure. Any moment now we should start turning to the right. There we go. Speed down now to 190. And we're going to be using flaps 30 at 139 with a 5 knot offset for the wind. So that's about 144. There we are. We should begin to intercept fully, or establish fully, in just a few seconds. I'm going to go back up with the speed a minute, just until we do get fully established, and then I'll bring it back down to 144. You can see the localizer is perfectly fine, but the glide slope is still coming in. We can go with gear down now, and I'm going to set flaps to 25. And we can bring the speed back now to 144. There we go. Flaps 30. Fully established. Gear is down. 3 greens. Speed brake is armed. We've got the auto brake set. Landing lights are on and everything else. Engines to continuous. We can switch on the wheel well lights. I don't know whether we need them, but there we go. Again, frames are going down the toilet, but nevertheless. Do apologise, I think we're actually doing pretty well, to be honest, considering this is London Heathrow. So many of these views are thumbnail worthy. I just wish you could have more than one thumbnail. Absolutely amazing. British Airways coming in for landing at runway 27 right at Heathrow. Again, I would have preferred it to be the 767-300, but we don't have that aircraft, so I couldn't do it with that aircraft, unfortunately. It's not a massive substitution, it's not much difference between both aircraft, so that's all fine. 272, we've just set that on the heading just for the sake of it. I know you probably don't need to, but there we go. Well, that's it, we're fully established. Everything's looking good. Absolutely loving the clouds, look at those. Just a case of waiting now. I'm going to disengage at 1,000 feet. I think I can just handle this, to be honest. We have got a wind blowing us to the right, but nevertheless we're okay. 1,000. And disconnecting the autopilot now. The aircraft is now mine. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit higher than what expected, just so that we don't go too low. Probably a bad idea. We're looking alright though, the pappies are looking fine. The PFD is not looking fine though, we're a bit to the right of the runway, so I'm going to try and compensate for that. That's probably too much. By the looks of the pappies, we are perfectly on profile, so I'm not too worried about the PFD telling us that we're a little bit high. 400 feet. A little bit low now. Not too worried about it. Continuing. Yeah, not too worried about the pappies at this point. I'm going to lift it up a little bit because I wasn't happy with the speed that we were about to hit the ground. And I floated it. There we go, we're down. Reversers are green. $80 knots. 60 knots now, manual braking. Reversers are stowed. We can bring in the flaps and bring in the speed brakes and everything in a moment. I didn't actually think that was too bad. Welcome to Heathrow. Flaps coming in nicely. We can disengage the auto brake in just a second. And I'll just stop at the threshold here just until we clean up the aircraft a little bit before we continue. Bring it to a nice controlled stop. There we go. Not speed brake, parking brake on. Flaps coming in. You can just make them out there. Right, so VORs, traffic and data can come off. Flight directors, they can come off, and also the other side can be done. We will set the altitude back to 0. Coursers can go back to 0 as well. Speed can go back, and we can set the heading back to 0 as well. Okay, so start the APU, taxi lights on and landing lights off. We can switch off the wheel well lights now. And I think, apart from the probe heats, switch those off. The engines also need to go back to normal. Clear that warning, and that's it. We will do the rest of it when we get to the gate. So, I think we're going to go to gate, I think it's 108. I will have to check that on little nav map in just a second. But 108 is looking as if it's the gate for us. Again, apologies for the frames, they are not the best in the world, but there we go. Not really something I can do much about. But anyways, I am not going to keep you waiting. I will literally see you in just a second when we actually pull into the gate and we can get everybody deboarded. Alright, so it doesn't seem that 108 was too far away, so we're just about to turn into it now. So all the lights can come off now. And here we go. See if I can screw up the parking. There's the marshallet. Or the marshal. A little bit fast, so I'm just going to try and slow down a little bit. And that's too much. Oops. And now it's having a go at me because I'm trying to increase the speed again. And stop. Ah, still too late. Please cut the engines. That's parking brake is on. First of all, let's transfer the power. And now we can go ahead and switch off the engines. So, cut the engines 1 and 2. Oh, did that a little bit too quickly. Let's just get rid of that a second. Bring it back up again. And deboarding, please, from GSX. That wasn't very good parking. Yeah, I do apologise, GSX. Anyway, right, so seatbelts and everything can come off. We can go ahead and head straight for the ground connections. Set everything up so I don't get shouted at by the aircraft. Ground power can be connected. And that's it. So let's just open the doors for everybody to get off. And welcome, everybody, to London Heathrow. Hope you enjoyed the flight, guys. This is the first one that I've done to London Heathrow. I'm going to have to work on my performance a little bit, but thank you very much for watching, guys. And leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Should I do any more flights to this airport? Let me know. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.